Oh man, so data mining and AI company Palantir was up 8% in pre-market today and is still up 5% in trading today as I'm recording this video. Now, why has it gone up? What's causing this? Let's take a look. So we know that Palantir has agreed a 7-year contract with the US Army worth $823 million. Now, the platform is called Capability Drop 2, which is a program run by the US Army. That's the code name for it. And Palantir were in the final two for winning this contract, along with massive company BAE Systems. And kudos to Palantir for beating such a immense competitor BAE Systems to win the contract. That is a feather in their cap that they went head to head with BAE Systems, who've been in this space for a very long time, and they've managed to win such a big contract for $823 million. Right? So this program is going to start from 2020 when it was agreed, and it will run for 7 years, okay? And it's going to use the Gotham platform. So the Gotham platform is one of Palantir's two platforms. They've got Foundry, which is where they've packaged up their IP into a user-friendly version for companies and corporates, and then they've got Gotham, which is for their defense level, CIA, any military work they're doing, defense systems, etc. So the US Army will be using Gotham, and they're going to be using it for some AI and data mining processes. Obviously, they can't share that much because of the nature of the work it's in. Now, why would the share price be up? Well, obviously, we have it up because you can see here. Let's take a look. So we can see here in their 8Q filing that Palantir in the last 3 months ending June delivered 375 million in revenue. Okay, so they delivered 375 million in revenue, which gives them a 1.5 roughly, a 1.5, call it 1.5 billion revenue run rate for the year, right? If they were to run at that level. Now, to put this into context, this one deal has provided them half of their yearly revenue in this one deal which they've signed, right? So depending on how they want to account for it or whether they get paid over the next 7 years, that's how they want to do it. If you want to split it out over 7 years, that's about 120 million a year. It's still 8 to 9% of yearly revenue coming from this one contract. So it's a massive achievement. It's a big deal signed. But I think more interestingly for the markets is the fact that they were able to outbid and outtender BAE Systems. And it's a good sign for them to go and achieve similar contracts with other governments globally. So that is the positive. And let's take a look at the charts actually, because the charts will give us a good idea of how this is moving. So you can see we're still red candle sticking slightly, although we're up. Let's go into hourly view. And you can see kind of the market's not massively, it was higher up in pre-market, there you go, and it's kind of cooling off now for Palantir. And I don't think this is just specifically with Palantir. This is obviously due to the wider market at the time of recording this video. To give you an idea, at the time of recording this video, we've got the S&P down 1%, down 1.2% almost, and NASDAQ down 0.8%. So there's wider concerns about the market, which we're not going to cover off in this video, but just to say that this is a positive for Palantir. It's the only stock here up so much, 5%. You got a firm up 2%, and then the rest of the market is pretty red. If we just take a quick flick down, you can see it's pretty red. So I believe this will, kind of come out in the wash over the next few weeks in terms of uplift to the share price. But Palantir really needs to start climbing now. I'm not too sure how many more catalysts Palantir needs. Let's come out to the the daily view. And you can see we're kind of hugging this support line here on Palantir, which is good because it's a bit of an upward trend, but we just can't break above 30. I think the amount of catalysts and great earnings that Palantir has received, we should really be breaking this level here. Now, the interesting thing is this wedge here from a technical point of view can start to line up with earnings in the middle of November, okay, which we're expecting for Palantir. If Palantir smash delivery, perhaps that can lead to a breakout above the 30 mark, and hopefully we can head into this green space for Palantir, because Palantir's proven themselves time and time again with good contracts, good partnerships, good revenue growth, good earnings, and it's a matter of time before they head higher. Now, if you haven't watched my video where I break down why there is no love for Palantir, do go check that out. I'll try to link that up if I remember. But the key thing here is, the markets are a bit concerned about their diversification. And whenever I talk about Palantir, I'm invested heavily in Palantir. I've got a position in Palantir, but I'm always very clear on what they need to improve on. And the bit they need to improve on, which is probably why a lot of institutions are worried about it, and a lot of even retail investors don't want to invest too much into it, is they need to diversify away. At the moment, a lot of their revenue is coming from the US, and it's coming from government and military contracts. And we've just seen another example of that, right? So this doesn't help their diversification. We want to see Palantir go more into corporates, build their revenue up through more corporates and more number of clients so they can spread that risk out and become more institutional friendly. That doesn't mean institutions aren't buying into Palantir. They are, and there is evidence. But imagine how much more they'd be buying if Palantir was more of a diversified revenue, had more diversified revenue. So there you go, guys. Great news on Palantir. It's up 4 to 5%, fighting in a very tricky market. So we have to take that in isolation. The fact that it's the only stock really up right now in this market shows that, that's a really great piece of news. They've secured a really big contract, and more than just the monetary value, it's the fact that they were able to beat such a well-established incumbent in BAE Systems. And I believe there were 6 or 7 other tenders which they managed to beat through the process. So it just gives you testament to the fact that, the US Army would have thoroughly tested their platform, tested their security levels, because obviously they've got so many levels of classification in the US defense. They would have tested that thoroughly, seen case studies, really, kick the tires and understood what does Palantir do. And that, again, the fact that they passed all of those with flying colors and secured a 7-year deal just goes to show how mature their technology and platform is. And I think the market knows that. I don't think the market's questioning their platform or their technology, because, people have understood that Palantir's been around and had these types of contracts for a long time. I think now they just need to come away from being just a retail stock at the moment. Unfortunately, they got caught up in a bit of this momentum and retail stock games, and hopefully start to diversify their revenue and really start growing, because this is the kind of company that can outgrow an IBM by 2025 and really go from strength to strength. So there you go, guys. There's why Palantir is up. Was up 8% in pre-market and still 5% during the market. If you like this type of video, then please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.